All right, let's talk about the draft and these quarterbacks. I saw an interview with you where you love Caleb Williams. Is that still the case?
Yeah, I do. I think he is a special talent. Watching him, I understand some of his flaws, but the guy is extremely athletic. He makes incredible throws, especially off platform. He has tremendous arm talent. I think he tries to do too much at times, like a lot of these guys, force it into situations where he probably shouldn't have thrown the ball. I think that's all correctable with coaching. Everybody goes back, well, did you watch the Notre Dame game? Well, I watched the first half of the Notre Dame game and he wasn't very good, made poor decisions. But also, what really stuck out to me is when he came out the second half, he actually played really well in the second half. So that told me, hey, okay, I had a crap first half, but it didn't linger into the second half. He regrouped himself, regathered, and came out, and they didn't win the game. But he played much better in the second half, so he can overcome adversity. The rest will be, once you get through all this pre-draft process. But I think from a talent standpoint, athletically, from a natural gifted playmaker, uh, I think that he is one of the best I've seen coming out of college.
I love that you mentioned the adversity because every one of the top quarterbacks had something that they had to overcome, right? All of the elite guys over the last few years. And then even like CJ Stroud had a game against Northwestern last year. We had what, 9 completions and 60 yards, and it was terrible weather. But I mean, you can't go back through everyone's college games and be like, oh, they were all perfect. So
No.
I get that.
And the one thing that was always interesting was if they played poorly, how did they respond the next week, especially with all these kids now on whatever social medias and
Yeah.
all the exposure they have out there and fans, a lot of the kids when we interview them at the com, oh yeah, I just turned off my social media. Well, you may, but your girlfriend, your friends, your mom, your dad are reading all that crap they're writing about you. But how does he respond? Does it linger? Or does he come back and have maybe his best game after he played a crappy game?
So I think Caleb Williams will be I think most will have him going number one to the Bears. I expect the Bears to take him at number one. It seems like there's a lot more debate than I had anticipated between Drake May, Jaden Daniels, maybe even some others in the top 15. Where do you stand on the second best quarterback in the league in the draft?
Yeah, I like Drake May a lot. I had the ability and to watch him play live down in Miami last year, and his size, I think he is very athletic. I think he has arm talent. I think he's another one. He did not have the same talent around him this year. He made some poor decisions, turning the ball over or forcing the ball where it probably could have kept it. And then Jaden Daniels is an incredible story coming from where he started at ASU, Arizona State, where he was still developing. You can say, God, this guy will never be a first round pick. To when he transferred into LSU and the strides he made from last year to this year, and how much better he has improved. So I think all three of these are going to be very successful quarterbacks in the league. I think there's a drop off into that next tier, and it'll be interesting to see how many actually do go in the first round. And Steve, if I can ask you a question respectfully,
Of course.
um, I think there's two parts to this question. How many quarterbacks do you think are actually first round talent? And then the second part of it is how many will actually get drafted in the first round?
Oh, good. I like what we because it's just you and I. You have to be able to ask me questions, so that's good. I am open for questions. I'm with you on who the top three is. I think a Bo Nix is probably, I'd say, first round talent. I don't love Bo Nix. Um, I think 4 or 5 probably still end up going in the first. So let's say four first round talents and 5 go in the first round. What I don't know is that pivot point of Vikings, Broncos, Raiders, 3 teams who need quarterbacks. Are they taking one there, or are they gonna try to wait till the second? Are they gonna try to trade up? So I think that's that's kind of the pivot point for number of quarterbacks.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not as big a Bo Nix fan as you are, apparently.
I don't love I don't I don't love him.
You have him as your fourth quarterback. He's not the fourth quarterback in this draft.
Who's fourth?
JJ McCarthy.
Maybe it's the small sample size on JJ, but it's hard for me to project what I haven't seen. I know that's the job, but it's hard to project seeing him in a high volume system.
Only thing I would say is where you've seen it, and he played very well, even though they lost the game, is when they played TCU in a semifinal game 2 years ago, and he had to air it out and got into a shootout. And you've seen all the throws and everything he is capable of doing. Now, I understand he's athletic, and people want to maybe label him a game manager because of what Michigan asked him to do this year in the system that he ran. But that was a glimpse of, if you let him go, I thought he played excellent in that TCU game and just threw the ball all over the yard. Now, does he need time to develop? Yes. Is he more than a game manager? Maybe your point. I don't know that because you didn't see that this year. I know the one game that I couldn't believe the poor decisions he made was against Bowling Green. I think he threw 3 interceptions that game. And I was watching the tape and I said, boy, this is un-Falcon believable. Get it? Bowling Green Falcons.
I like it. I mean, and most evaluators just, they pick 6 to 8 games and it's all the best teams. It's good you watch the Bowling Green game. You can learn from.
Well, I wanted to see it because he threw 3 interceptions that game. Why do you throw in 3 interceptions against Bowling Green?
Listen, Rick, I can be swayed off of QB takes. I think I know I've been around a lot of evaluators and everybody's very confident in their evaluations and their process and everything. I am least confident in quarterback because I think what constitutes success, I think, it's just a higher standard than other positions, right? Where again, we're not just trying to find, is this guy an NFL starter? I don't know if I care that much if he's just a starter. I want a guy that's a game changer. And I think it's been challenging to predict that over the last few years.
If you do find the formula, you will make $1 gazillion.
I know.
I thought you've been working on that in your secret lab back there with all your numbers and twists and turns.
Yeah, I've got it. I think I've got it. I got it for non-quarterbacks here, Rick. I got the models looking good for non-QBs. The figuring out of the top 8 quarterbacks in the NFL, man, that is challenging. I can be swayed. My note on Bo Nix, I'm going to repeat this for our podcast listeners throughout the season here, was something to the effect of, he could be good, but I don't want to be the team that finds out. I'm okay if I miss on him, but I don't know if I want to be the team that, has to make that investment to see it. So I get it. I don't feel strongly either way, but you do, JJ McCarthy. So do you think he's going top 15? That seems to be the hype.
Well, take it with a grain of salt because I'm sitting here doing this podcast with you. So
right, we're at equal footing now. That's good. That's good.
Although I will be very opinionated. I may not be right, but at least you know where I stand on players.
As I said, the evaluators I know are extremely confident, even if not you per se, but others who maybe don't have the best track record or whatever, maybe haven't won the most games, and they're like, I know exactly what I'm doing. So, any other QBs maybe that have caught your eye or that you have strong opinions on either way?
The guy that's we've talked about Michael Penix Jr., and I think he'll come down to the medical. And,
right.
He did show up, didn't play in the Senior Bowl, but showed up at practice down there. Does he slide into the first round? The guy that is a mystery to me is Spencer Rattler, because he's not overly big, but he's got very good arm, very easy throwing motion, looked very good down at the Senior Bowl. But the question I have is some of his decision making, and it was an issue when he was at Oklahoma and actually got beat out by Caleb Williams, and then he was at South Carolina, but he never took them any farther than, than a an average to good SEC team, but nothing that took him to the next level. So, and the thing I had issues with him was the decision-making in critical situations during the game. So, and he's had some talent down there. Leggette's coming out, the receiver. They had the tight end Bell from that transferred to Florida
Yeah.
State. So he's had some players to throw the ball to. It just seems like whatever that is, and I wish I had the answer to that, because you're going to fall in love with his arm. You're going to fall in love with the way the ball comes out. You're going to, he's more than capable of making plays with his athletic skill set. It's just the decision-making part in critical situations in the game.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about Rattler. Had a lot of people bring Rattler up as a guy if he's around in the third round or whatever it might be, that teams might say, okay, that's worth a shot. Let's see if we can develop him, because he looked like he was going to be the next great Oklahoma quarterback before Caleb Williams did beat him out. Right, there was that run of Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, and it was was it Spencer and then Caleb right after Jalen Hurts?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So and it just, for whatever reason, it didn't work out there, but he didn't make very good decisions at Oklahoma either, with some of the turnovers that he created. So if that's fixable or not, that's what teams are going to have to figure out.